This is July 25th, 2000. I'm at GR0056, the Poorman mine. I'm kind of down along a tributary to the headwater of Kelly Creek, next to what may be a caved adit. It's real hard to tell here. There is this little notch, but it's right next to a cabin. And not sure whether this was excavated possibly for a storage something, or whether it was actually a mine at it or what. A little outhouse right behind me here. This is a pretty nice old cabin. Little junk lying around. Still got the sheet metal roofing on it. Come around to the front of it. You can see that it's in reasonably good condition for being fairly old. It's built out on a pretty good sized flat, which may or may not be waste rock. It's really difficult to tell exactly what was going on here. It's pretty old. We probably can get an idea from the literature. Let me come back up here to where I'm sure there was an adit and some shafts. Okay, looking back toward the cabin, you can see this little cut here. I believe this is all waste rock, possibly waste rock anyway, from what is more than likely a caved adit. I presume it was back in this area. You can see it's pretty well sloughed in here. And then up on top, these little piles up here are all around the several pits. Now I think there was supposed to be some shafts here as well, and all of the material up there is caved. All of the workings are caved. There is a seep coming out here, but it kind of trickles in. Looks pretty stagnant, so I'm not going to bother getting a sample of this. There is a claim notice over here on this tree. It's actually dated a couple days ago, 7/22/2000 by David Lowry, I believe it was, the Amador Silver and Gold Mining Company of Craigmont. They also call this the Sundown mine, S-U-N-D-A-U-N. So it does have another name for it now anyway. I'll go up here and we'll just take a quick look at these pits. There's really not a lot to see. Okay, for perspective, there's the cabin. Little access road comes into a fairly good graveled road that comes in here as well. Down here is where the probable caved adit is. A little shallow kind of pit right here. All of these three are on line. A fairly deep one here. I'm guessing this is has just collapsed down into the adit. May have been a shaft, and then you can see right there's another pit, not as deep as this one, but it's that one's about 12 feet across, maybe 8 feet deep. This one appears to be about maybe 30 feet long, 20 feet across, and probably 15 feet down there, but it's certainly not a hazard by any means. You could slide in, but you could easily get back out. That's all that there really is to show here. Not too much to talk about, so I'll get some photos and move on. Well, this is still at the Poorman mine. I'm down below the cabin, and the reason I'm taking a little more video is this lower thing really was a caved adit. There's some old portal timbers under this fallen tree here, and then there is a waste dump that extends out into this drainage. There's also a seep here coming out of the adit. You can see the water here, although I'm not sure that all of this water is actually coming from the adit. Some may be coming down the drainage and getting over here. But I went ahead and took a sample of this just because it's kind of here, and because there at least is some water coming out of the adit. So either way, we should get some sort of idea of of whether there's any impact whatsoever in the creek. This is pretty much a good granitic rock, and looks pretty clean, so I wouldn't expect too many problems with it. I also took a sample of the dump out here, since it does go right out over the drainage and right to the main part of the creek there. However, it's really only about 4 feet thick. It's very, very minimal amount of material, so I doubt this adit was ever too long, but thought I'd go ahead and at least get a sample of it. Should be a fair representation of the type of material that's in this country anyway. Well, that should conclude the Poorman.